with my Soldier Love remix. I just want to say that you only get one journey, you only get one chance, you only have one moment to experience love. So while you're on this earth, take that leap, take that chance, take that risk, because once you achieve it, you never want to let it go. And you deserve it just like everybody else. Be a soldier for love.
When I showed you the website to go on to send evidence to the IR, send evidence to the FBI, no one's done that. So it took me a while to break this down, but I'm gonna put everything out there. I am, because see, I found out some things of my own, and I found that a lot of channel holders are Team Religio. See, there are some people that used to deal with this sector that told me everything. I know everything, the truth, and everything. A lot of these people are doing this strictly for views, and that is it. And for money. That's the only reason they're doing it. Because without him, they have no commentary. And they all get a piece of the situation of this reality TV deal. And like I said, everything I've said has been correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit back and watch the shit unfold. These channel holders are not what you think they are. They're all lying. Every last one of them lying. Including that interview with Eligio.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, we in the building. See, I got receipts. You want to see receipts, man? I'm like Paramount Pictures. You want to talk about edits? You know, I hope our friend is in the background watching. You want to see edits? First of all, believe it or not, there was a time when women was the majority of filmmakers in Hollywood. And I guess the men had to do something about it. So when it was silent films, before they had talkie films, women was the predominant filmmakers in Hollywood. When they added audio, the women couldn't afford to produce film with audio, and they didn't want to leave the industry, so only a couple of women could stick in the filmmaking industry. The rest of the women had to become editors for big Hollywood film companies. So in early Hollywood, the majority of editors were females, and people assumed that was a female's job, but really they were running Hollywood until, just like with music, they changed the format to CD, and small labels couldn't afford CDs, so the game changed a little bit. But like I said, so the fact that people can edit well, the fact that ladies like Ashe can edit well, it's not foreign to the industry, because women were the main filmmakers when it was silent films, and then they had to move into indoors, into the editing jobs, because they couldn't afford to make films on their own. So when you talk about edits, you're talking about, we ain't talking about quick slapstick, paste on, jokey films. When you talk about editing, you talk about editing. And you just saw how I edit RoboCop with LaTanya. Now that's what you call editing. Okay. And we got some more edits for you. And then I'm gonna, when the wifey get here to pick up my son, I'm gonna switch to a film about this very famous drum break to buy me some time. But for now, we're gonna go through Lordship edits. Okay. And I just want to say welcome everybody in the background. Welcome Mid Clegg Global Family and Grown Folks TV, Evelyn Underwood. And anybody that's in the background, it's all good. Global Family TV, good to see you. So let's see what this one is, because I don't have them labeled. Observer in the building too. Let's not leave out Observer. I think I clicked the wrong button. But you know how that one goes. We all know how that story is. So because I dropped the ball on that one, let me find a quick replacement. Let's see what this one do.
Now, when suicide go live, it'd be another nigga up in that room with him. You looking at, look at that top right on his sunglasses. In the top right corner, on his left lens, your right, you see a nigga sitting right there. Side is live in that motel room. It be him and another nigga sitting up there while he wearing wigs and shit, being loud and country and shit like Chris Tucker or some shit. Nigga, gay Chris Tucker, man. I'm telling you, look at that shit right there, man. That's the receipts, man. It's another nigga sitting right there. You can see his shadow reflection in his sunglasses. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Busted.
Sometimes I forget how talented George Benson is. George Benson is very, very talented, I must say, indeed.
But if any of them do anything to me, the FBI is watching. I'm very sure they are watching along with the authorities. That's why I stay on live as much as I do. So that way, if anything happened to me, y'all are on camera if anything happens. See, y'all want to know the real reason I've been on for all these hours? So if somebody try to kill me or do anything to me, y'all are actually there to see it. That's why I've been on for so many hours, to protect myself, to make sure that I was always in my car on YouTube or Instagram. I was always at work because I didn't know who was going to try to mess with me while I was at work. I never knew who would do anything to me. That's why I stayed on live as much as I did, to protect my life. Because I already know some people might try to have me killed. Because I was receiving death threats that much. I wanted to make, and I knew what I was doing was going to put my life at risk. And that is why I stayed on live as much as I did to protect my life. So if anybody tried to kick my door down or do anything to me, there was a whole channel that could see everything that happened and would be able to call 911.
This is gonna be the realest video I ever fucking made.
That was from the movie clip Black Girl, the little dancing part. Black girl, black girl. Yeah, you can catch that on YouTube. It's an old school flick. Let me see what this one is.
I appreciate her because she didn't have to do that. I was like, she said, I'm sending you something. This is just because of everything you've been dealing with, which was very sweet of her. But then I realized I had the wrong PayPal. I have 2 PayPal accounts. And one of them was like 3 years old and I was looking for them. But they're connected. I didn't realize they were connected. So I had to end up figuring out which one it was. Now I know which one it is. I had to make sure I put the right one up. I think I did today. If that one, the video I did posted, then yeah. But as for all these people don't make a break. Man, I got bigger fish to fry right now. I'm dealing with an ex-boyfriend right now at the moment. I'm not even concerned about the crazy people. I ain't even concerned about him right now. I might go out tomorrow and spend some time with my girlfriend tomorrow. And she and I go out and just have lunch. And no, I don't mean a woman that I'm sleeping with. I mean a friend of mine. Because when you say girlfriend, you be like, are y'all having sex? No. No. But yeah, I just had to learn that instead of me wanting some things you're not going to get right then, some things just lead up to other things. So a lot of times just don't mind me. But that's the way I teach, because I want to basically teach you what leads you into the situation and who's involved. So when people come out, when I start getting these phone calls, let me prepare y'all. And I should have did this from the beginning, but I didn't. I am German people. I am my mom and had German friends.
Okay.
We were practically raised. I interacted with German people.
Because German people don't do stuff, huh? German people don't smoke or nothing, right? They don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't fuck.
They don't. I said the way they raise their children are different. I didn't say they didn't do anything. I respected my parents. I did right by my parents. Am I going to say I was perfect? No. But I never stole my mother's car. I never not came in on time. Did I date? Yes, I did.
And you didn't get sick of dying to nothing, right?
No.
Okay, no. Son. You just keep...
No, because number one,
you just got to
no. And yeah, I kissed my mom, but the thing about it is my mother said it was okay for me to do so.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my point.
But you can't, don't let them touch that cuckoo.
No.
And you was like, oh, no, wait, we doing all this scamming and don't touch this part.
That would be no.
Okay. All right, LaTanya.
I'm serious, no.
Okay.
Because like I said.
Oh, I mean, it's time for me to get back in. But negative is not negative. Is not only thing in the world. There is positive things. That was
saying that. You're still misunderstanding what I'm saying. But
I did. I told you that from the beginning. I was confused, but
and I'm gonna let you stay confused too. You have a nice day.
All right. Peace.
Yes, indeed. It's film night with His Lordship. Definitely film night. We almost prepared for our feature film, which might get me flagged, but hopefully it'll be cool.
I know a lot of y'all got a lot of questions. I know a lot of y'all is probably
I'm about to play that video that I sent you, Black. I'm about to premiere that about the 6-second break.
I don't blame any of you for how you're feeling right now. I don't blame you for being pissed off. Oh, it's fine. Like I said, I know a lot of people are in shock right now. A lot of people is trying to wrap their heads around what has happened. But for me, I said this 3 months ago. That girl was going back to carbonation. And everybody called me a liar for it. Everybody said I was wrong. Everybody sat up there and said that I was wrong for speaking about that registry. I told everybody that was going to be a mistake. I told everybody not to give them no donations to get that girl home. I sat there and said that. But
you at the YouTube drive-in.
Called me every name in the book for it.
That's why I do the screen like that.
And
make it seem like you at the drive-in.
For OMAC and Pops and the rest of the
family. She
throw
a lurker under the bus.
Absolutely, I do. I feel horrible for them. I feel horrible for Lurker and Grand and all them because they got her money to get home. I feel horrible for all the people that are going to pay for this. But y'all, let me be 100 with this. If Velvet don't give them back their money, guess who's going to be responsible for that? The channel holders that supported her. Let me just be 100 with this, y'all. All right. This is what Lurker posted this morning. It says, Velvet is not going back. There has been a misunderstanding. She needs space. Please respect the process and pray with all vibes of positive energy. Okay, that was posted this morning. So with that being said, I don't feel sorry for none of y'all because you should have listened when I first got on here and told y'all to go to the feds. No, you didn't want to go to the feds. You wanted to give donations. You wanted to be vigilantes. You wanted to sit up here and bring these people home. Now they've made pretty fools out of y'all because they used you, got what they wanted from all of y'all, and went back over there. So now y'all all look like idiots. And I'm the one crazy. I'm the one delusional. I'm the one lying. I'm the one doing all this shit. Man, I feel sorry for y'all. Because like I said, I tried to warn you. Everything that's happening as far as everything that's going on, I told you from day one this was happening. It was going to happen. He wanted all of y'all to go down with him. All these people going against him, he made sure all of y'all go down with him. And you are. Because for the simple fact, y'all have condoned his behavior. You have aided and abetted this man and have supported this man in more ways than one. Even though you didn't mean to. Even though your intentions were good. But the point is, you are now involved with him. And you notice my expression ain't changed, right? So with that being said, it doesn't matter. The point is, y'all should have went to the feds. That's the first thing you should have did. You should have went to the local police, told them what was going on, sent them evidence to the local police. Then if they didn't do anything, go to the FBI. Because if it really is an FBI issue, go to the FBI. Then after that, go to the Attorney General. Then if that don't work, go on social media. Let social media know what's going on so that way you could actually get attorneys and people to help you. That's what I was trying to do. Get these parents on camera so they could get help. So they get people like lawyers and celebrities to actually want to help them get their kids back to bring awareness. But no, I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I'm just stupid and dumb and crazy. I'm just a lunatic. I'm just a Looney Tune. I'm just somebody that don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And now this shit just blown up in all of y'all fucking...
That he said that of one of them, or if not multiple girls, having sex with him or him jacking off. The reason why, because that shows human trafficking.
Oh. Remember, a pimp is only as good as his product, see? And his product is women. Now you got to go out there and you got to get the best ones you can find. And you got to work them broads like nobody's ever worked them before. And never forget, anybody can control a woman's body, see? But the key is to control her mind. You see, pimping's big business. And it's been going on since the beginning of time. And it's gonna continue straight ahead. So somebody up there turns out the lights on this small planet. Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
What I'm looking for. I'm looking for one of him actually. Like the one he did a Yaya, the one he did a Pocahontas. I'm looking for something like that. Hey, I'm looking for the actual video of him having sex or jacking off or something of that nature. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that because that's incriminating. I need that video.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? But Lordship is the bully. Lordship is picking on people. I'm trying to tell you that she's been supporting this dude and reinforcing his persona. She said that he was handsome. She was giving him advice. She was showing his naked baby. She told off. She threatened. She tried to use emotional blackmail on the family. Man, I got a list of 20 things. You know what I'm saying? I got a video of her looking at Eliana and the other girl with Nature Boy doing fellatio, and she about lost her mind. And then I got another video of her reading the story in South America about Nature Boy, and she act like she's hearing all this information for the first time, but she's supposed to be the main person, the main go-to person. Hold on one second, y'all. So I'm going to start. This film has two parts because a commercial came on and I had to cut it. So we started out with the BS and the drama first, and now we're going to switch over to something really informative and something that that we all should know, because this is part of my world. This is what I'm into and what I do, and I want you to have a better understanding, because you're going to hear a lot of music from this channel and stuff like that, and I want you to have a little bit of background, okay? And this is very interesting how America music had an influence around the world. One little record changed music. It's crazy. So, yeah, dub plates of sorts. Hello, Fundi. Welcome. You came right on time. All right, our feature film is about to start. It's in two parts, but it's only 18 minutes total. But a commercial came on and I had to cut it. Okay, so here we go. While I go say hi to the wifey. Wink, wink.
He sent them
It's a ubiquitous piece of the pop culture soundscape. It's been used as the rhythmic backdrop in everything from late 80s gangster rap to corporate America's recycling hip-hop forms to sell things like Jeeps and blue jeans to suburban America. In fact, just last week, I saw a TV commercial for a pharmaceutical company where this drum beat was used to promote some sort of purple pill. It's been used so much, I might argue it's now entered into the collective audio unconscious, and did so about 3 or 4 years ago. It's been somewhat glossed over now, but it has quite a history to it. This particular drum beat, or rather this break beat as it is more accurately called, or even more simply just break, well, this particular break is called the Amen break. Here's what it sounds like. Here, I'll play it again. Now this break, despite its popularity and use over the last decade or so in contemporary culture, dates back almost 40 years. The Amen break is a small piece of, and gets its name from, a song released in 1969 titled Amen Brother. Amen Brother was recorded by a funk and soul band who called themselves the Winstons. Amen Brother is the B-side of a single released by the Winstons titled Color Him Father. Color Him Father went on to win a Grammy Award for the band, becoming one of the top 100 hits of 1969. It's probably the track for which the band is best known. However, it's the B-side, Amen Brother, that has that classic drum breakdown right in the middle of the song, which makes it perfect for sampling. Here it is again, with more of the rest of the track included to give it context. So, Amen Brother was recorded, it was released, it was played, it came and went. Nothing terribly remarkable about it. However, the drum loop in the middle of the song was resuscitated with the advent of the sampler in the 1980s. Just a brief aside about the sampler, this was a machine about the size of a VCR that allowed its user to record any sound into it for quick playback and arrangement. The sampler, as well as the turntable, were principal tools largely responsible for the birth and development of hip-hop. With a sampler, any drum beat, any guitar riff, any sound that could be recorded, could be used as part of a new composition, a new contextualization. Nowadays, almost all commercially produced music has been at least in part realized with a sampler. But hip-hop and other electronic-based music genres pioneered the creative use of samplers, and the Amen break was one of the first drum samples to be experimented with. Here's an early example, the track Words of Wisdom by New York duo Third Bass, released in 1989.
Yeah, smack him on the back, sit him down, say give me some rhythm. Baby, loosen up my collar, I lay out like a funeral parlor. Ready, willing, filling, killing for a billing. Top, I never stop with searching, Sam drilling it. Soul in a hole, MC's working, kicking it, picking, the suckers will be jerking.
And here's another example, NWA's track Straight Outta Compton, also from
All right, now the rest should be no interruption. I made it right back in time. Good thing I had that wallpaper sitting there so you didn't have to look at a blank screen. And here we go. Welcome everybody that just walked in the room, and any new people in the room. It's good to have you here. Hey, Joe Keto, and some of the new faces, Misty Clouds and etc. Blue Rain, Fundi Fee, Patty Paradox, Ajoke, Misty Clouds, and any other new faces here?
Their usage. In the UK, right around the time Straight Outta Compton is released, the rave scene there explodes, with musicians and DJs who used samplers in the Amen break to produce hardcore techno, raga jungle, and drum and bass.
Straight outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. From the gang called niggas with attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a sawed off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you fuck with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me.
Finally, here is Mantronics with King of the Beats from 1990. In these cases, a one-bar loop of the Amen was used to create the rhythms. That is to say, it's a fairly straightforward use of the break. As time went on and samplers became more complex, so did their usage. In the UK, right around the time Straight Outta Compton is released, the rave scene there explodes, with musicians and DJs who used samplers in the Amen break to produce hardcore techno, raga jungle, and drum and bass. Jungle in particular, it being an amalgamation of reggae toasting, heavy bass lines, and high-speed breakbeats, centers its aesthetic almost entirely around the deconstruction of the Amen. This was done by slicing the original 6-second sample into its individual drum hits. Each snare drum, each bass drum, the hi-hats, the crash cymbal. The slices could then be rearranged and manipulated in any number of ways to create new patterns. Here's an earlier jungle artist. This is Shy FX's track Original Nutta from 1994. And here's another by L Double and Younghead titled New Style from 1996. Amen tracks like these were plentiful and easily disseminated to their audiences via acetate test pressings, or dub plates as they're called. These one-off recordings, unlike mass-produced vinyl records that typically had to be pressed in quantities of 1,000 or more, were, and still are, cheap to make and could be cut quickly. A musician could make an Amen track in the morning, get a dub plate cut that afternoon, and have a DJ play it to a crowd that night. Dub plates don't last very long, however, and can only be played about 50 times before they wear out. The recording you are listening to now is an example of a dub plate. In any event, with Jungle's popularity, what you got in reaction was this sort of chin-stroking art crowd who took the Amen as their own in the name of a sort of, as some might say, a highbrow posturing. They proceeded to push the levels of absurdity with its use, really tweaking the arrangements beyond a point of danceability and syncopation, and into a realm of pure fetishization and self-indulgence. Here's the UK's Tom Jenkinson, aka Square Pusher, with the track Vic Acid from 1997. And the US's Keith Whitman, aka Havratsky, with his track Routine Exercise from 1998. And now, just to fast forward a bit, if you tune in to the internet radio station www.ragajungle.com, you'll be massaged by endless permutations of the Amen break, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Despite jungle and drum and bass being over 10 years old now, they still have their hardcore fans, even if they base their devotion partly on the nostalgia of the early UK scene. I find this quite interesting. Hundreds of tracks, dozens of DJs, a number of clubs and events, in effect an entire subculture, based on this one drum loop. I mean, based on 6 seconds from 1969. What is it about the Amen break? What's the fascination? Is it the punch of the snare drum? Or maybe the overall groove of the loop? Obviously it seems to have infected a great many musicians. Here's one more example, and a kind of odd one at that. Perry Farrell, as some know as the frontman for Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros, making some kind of hybrid rock jungle cover of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. The original Whole Lotta Love, ironically enough, was released by Led Zeppelin in 1969, the same year Amen Brother was released. Indeed, the Amen break appears quite adaptable to a range of music genres and tastes. So perhaps an question is, where are the Winstons during all this? Sample-based music both in the US and abroad mushroomed during the 1990s. Were they around to witness the transformation of their breakbeat from a baby boomer soul groove into a staple for underground electronic music? Did any of the members of the band care about its blatant appropriation, seemingly without consent, by musicians in rave and hip-hop? Perhaps Richard Spencer, a founding member of the Winstons and the copyright holder of Amen Brother, and who interestingly enough left the music biz and later received a PhD in political science, simply didn't care. Perhaps he, like many people during hip-hop's early years, didn't see it and other sample-based music as having any potential beyond a limited underground appeal. During the 80s, when DJs plundered old jazz and R&B records looking for samples, hip-hop in particular and electronic music in general were not the pop phenomena and moneymakers we know them as today. There seemed to be a brief few sort of glory years back then, when the novelty of sampling and the rate at which it was being employed as a new technique grew faster than the rate at which any sort of copyright bureaucracy could maintain the law. Older bits of sampling were appropriated perhaps under the assumption of their being able to be freely used, in the spirit of a pledge to new forms. In other words, sampling was not seen as merely rehashing past sounds, but as an attempt to make new from something old, an artistic strategy as time-honored as creative expression itself. Only when these urban forms began receiving a lot of attention and making a lot of money did people, and more importantly, corporate bigwigs who held the copyrights to much of the back catalog of contemporary American music, start cracking down on copyright violation. Remarkably though, the Winstons, who by the way do still exist today, although in name only as none of the original members play in the band any longer, never pursued legal action against those hundreds of instances of the Amen break's appropriation over the last 20 years. The Amen, by the sheer amount of its use by producers and DJs around the world, had entered into a type of public domain, if not legally, then certainly culturally. At any rate, during Jungle's transformation from an underground club status to a more user-friendly electronica, as the media likes to call it, a curious chain of events happened. Advertising agencies, always looking for new angles to help peddle consumer products by tapping into what the kids on the margins are listening to these days, started using breakbeats, including the Amen, in television commercials. For example, here's a Jeep ad running in Southern California right now, promoting their Extreme Jeep Snow event.
Nothing handles the winter elements like a Jeep 4x4, except of course, you. Now, during the Extreme Jeep Snow event, visit your Jeep dealer and get a lift pass to Sugar Bowl, Bear Mountain, or Snow Summit. You'll also get a chance to win a legendary Grand Cherokee. And now, California buyers get 0+ on Grand Cherokee.
Now, noticing a rise in popularity in breakbeat music and recognizing a growing market of commercial producers wishing to use the Amen break, third-party companies started selling it through what seemed to be completely legal channels. For example, at the end of the 1990s, a UK company by the name of Zero G Limited started selling jungle construction kits, sample CDs containing hundreds of breakbeats, including the Amen. Here is their version of it from their Jungle Warfare sample CD, which, by the way, is copyrighted 2002 by Zero G. And here is the original Amen break again, taken from the actual Winston's vinyl release I bought off eBay, copyrighted 1969. I sped the break up slightly to match a jungle tempo. I don't think it's much of a stretch to conclude that Zero G appropriated the Amen, although according to their packaging they guarantee that all samples in the construction kit have been created specially for it. Likewise, nowhere in their literature does it mention any licensing of the Amen from the Winstons. So, here we have two copyrights of the same material. How can this be? Furthermore, while I can use Zero G's version of the Amen to make and sell music, I don't own the Amen sample I bought from them. I only own a license from them to use it. I cannot take their Amen and make and sell my own sample CD kit. Thus, in some ways, the Amen belongs less now to the Winstons and more to companies like Zero G Limited. Why do I bring any of this up? What is significant about the Amen break? I'm talking about it here because I think its story is a good example illustrating the rise and subsequent problematic of digital sampling in relation to today's increasingly stringent copyright and trademark laws. To trace the history of the Amen break is to trace the history of a brief period of time when it seemed digital tools offered a potentially unlimited amount of new forms of expression, where cultural production, at least musically, was full of possibilities by virtue of being able to freely appropriate from the musical past, to make new combinations and thus new meanings. The story demonstrates that a society, quote, free to borrow and build upon the past, is culturally richer than a controlled one, unquote. To use the words of Lawrence Lessig, Stanford law professor, copyright reform advocate, and co-founder of Creative Commons, an organization offering a legal alternative to copyright control. As we go forward, examples like the Amen break will become more and more rare, if non-existent. A Sixth Circuit Federal Appeals Court ruled in September of this year that recording artists must pay for every sample they use not in the public domain, regardless of the length or recognizability of the samples in question. But because of various changes to U.S. copyright laws, for example the Copyright Act of 1976 and the Sonny Bono Copyright Extension Act of 1998, which extend copyrights into the mid-21st century, virtually all 20th century cultural output has been locked away from the public domain, barred from sampling, unless one has deep pockets and expensive lawyers. So it seems a company like Zero G, with its attempt at regulating the use of, and profiting from, the use of the Amen break, is helping to secure the supremacy of copyright laws, while the company's very success itself occurred because of a lack of strict copyright control surrounding breakbeat sampling. In other words, not only does the innovation within culture grow when copyright is flexible, so do its markets and capital. New trends are developed, new sounds are sought after. New releases are anticipated and become hugely popular, perhaps even selling out. New stars are born and new fan bases are created. Money is exchanged, all in the pursuit of new forms and experiences, of potentials for new connections and meanings. I think the history of the use of the Amen break demonstrates this. To cite Federal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Alex Kozinski in a copyright ruling last year, quote, overprotecting intellectual property is as harmful as underprotecting it. Culture is impossible without a rich public domain. Nothing today, like nothing since we tamed fire, is genuinely new. Culture, like science and technology, grows by accretion, each new creator building on the works of those who came before. Overprotection stifles the very creative forces it's supposed to nurture, unquote. End of recording.
Well, that was a trip, huh? That was a straight trip. One little drum break on the B side of a 12-inch record by a soul group. They made a gospel song, and then on the other side of the record, they had a drum solo called Amen. And that record by itself, if you can find a copy of that record, it's worth so much money. But vinyl never died. I've made over 15 vinyls myself, and I didn't start making vinyl until 2001. So everybody remember vinyls from the 80s and the 70s, but I made my first vinyl in 2001, and I made at least 15 or more vinyls. One of them was a 7-inch vinyl, and 7-inch vinyl is very popular. So as you can see, his Lordship show is very musical, very visual, and the focus is not on me, but the information, what you hear and see. And I guess you could say this is a part 2 from yesterday. And you know, it would be only right if I follow up with playing that remix again. Now that we have a better understanding of the break, I do use a drum break for this song, but it's a different drum break, and everything is pretty much original. Thank you. Would you like to hear that Soldier of Love remix again? Okay, then. I'm going to run that Soldier of Love remix again. For to say that you only get one journey, you only get one chance, you only have one moment to experience love. So while you're on this earth, take that leap, take that chance, take that risk. Because once you achieve it, you never want to let it go. And you deserve it just like everybody else. Be a soldier for love.
I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. Still looking for the light, the endless pool on the other side. It's a wild, wild west, doing my best. For the line of my faith, I'm addicted to land of my devotion. In the front line of this battle of mine, but I'm still alive. I'm a soldier of love. Every day
Yo, well, I've been at work for about 6 hours, and business has been kind of slow, but now business has begun. And yeah, I'm glad you chill here. I'm glad that everybody dropped by and people checking me out. I'm sure they heard that I'm some big old bully that pick on people, but it's not like that at all. And sometimes I do DJ sets of independent artists. I do an import DJ set. You can ask people about that. Sometimes I drop links in the chat, and you know, I worked hard on that song. I probably worked 5, 6, 7 hours, probably 5 hours on that song. I still may touch it up later. I had to take the vocals out of the record. That's not easy to do. I'm not with the record company. How did I get the acapella? I didn't buy it. I had to use expensive software to snatch her vocals out of the record to remix it. And I always come with receipts. If you want to know the software I used, it's called Isotopes RX7. If you look on YouTube and look for videos, it'll say how to get acapellas. And that's how I got the acapella. And thanks, everyone. So, yeah, I have a client standing practically in front of me right now. And I just want to say I'm going to continue to try to bring you great content and provide a positive, smooth, relaxing atmosphere. My soundtracks are always in surround sound, so if you're using a smart TV, Bluetooth system, or 5.1 or whatever, my stuff is all in surround sound. So if you have a subwoofer, it sounds great. Sometimes I broadcast at high resolution, so if you have a projector or anything like that, the show is great. And I appreciate you coming by. And hit that like button, share this. And if you see right in the far right corner above my logo, it says $ technology, TEKKNOLOGY. That's my Cash App logo. And I appreciate everybody coming through. And you never know, when I'm finished with this remix, if right now I'm finished, but I think I should go darker towards the end. So when I finish this remix, I'll give it to you guys for free, okay? And it's all good. Peace and hair grease. All right? It's been real.
I'm the magnificent.
Your name is. Yo, man, I don't think they heard you. Why don't you tell them what your name is?
That's what I said.